Ethan Blake adjusted his scrubs as he stepped into the bustling hallway of St. Francis Hospital in San Francisco. The familiar scent of antiseptic filled the air, mingling with the soft hum of medical equipment and the distant sounds of nurses chatting and patients calling out. It was a typical day, yet Ethan felt a flutter of anticipation as he prepared for his shift. He had always found solace in his work as a ward boy, caring for patients and ensuring their comfort. But today felt different. As he made his way to room 204 for a routine checkup, he couldn't shake the feeling that something unexpected awaited him. Knocking lightly on the door, he heard laughter from within. Curiosity piqued, he opened the door to find Liam Carter sitting on the hospital bed. The moment their eyes met, Ethan felt a jolt of energy pass between them. Liam was handsome, with tousled dark hair and a smile that could light up even the dreariest of hospital rooms. "Hey there, ward boy. What's the verdict? Am I getting out of here today?" Liam teased, his voice playful and confident. Ethan chuckled nervously, feeling a warmth spread through him. "Not yet, but I can assure you that you're looking much better than yesterday." Liam leaned back against the pillows, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Well, that's a relief. I was starting to think they were keeping me here for my charming personality." Ethan laughed again, feeling more at ease. As he checked Liam's vitals, he couldn't help but notice how effortlessly they fell into conversation. Liam shared stories about his life before the hospital, his passion for art, his dreams of becoming a graphic designer, and his struggles with acceptance in a world that often felt unwelcoming. With each word Liam spoke, Ethan found himself captivated by his spirit. There was something magnetic about him, an energy that drew Ethan in and made him forget about the sterile environment surrounding them. "Do you paint?" Ethan asked, genuinely curious. "Not yet," Liam replied with a hint of sadness in his voice. "I've always wanted to, but I never had the courage to pursue it." Ethan felt an urge to encourage him. "You should. Your art could inspire so many people." Liam smiled softly at the compliment, and for a moment, their eyes locked in an unspoken understanding. It was as if they were sharing a secret that only they could comprehend, a connection that transcended their roles in the hospital. As their conversation flowed effortlessly, Ethan found himself forgetting all about his duties. Time seemed to slip away as they laughed and shared stories until the nurse entered to check on Liam. "Sorry to interrupt," she said with a smile, but Ethan could see her eyes flicker with curiosity as she glanced between them. "It's okay," Liam replied cheerfully. "We were just getting to know each other." Ethan felt a rush of warmth at those words, a sense of belonging that he hadn't experienced in a long time. After the nurse left, he took a deep breath and decided to stay longer than usual. As he helped adjust Liam's blankets and made sure he was comfortable, Ethan realized that this wasn't just another patient. There was something special about Liam that stirred emotions within him that he had long buried. "I'll be back later," Ethan promised as he reluctantly prepared to leave. Looking forward to it, Liam said with a wink that sent butterflies fluttering in Ethan's stomach. Walking out of the room, Ethan couldn't help but smile to himself. He had entered room 204 expecting nothing more than to perform his duties but had walked away feeling something profound, an unexpected connection that ignited hope within him. Little did he know that this encounter would change everything. The next day, Ethan Blake found himself counting down the hours until his shift began. The anticipation was almost unbearable. As he walked through the hospital corridors, he felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He had replayed his last conversation with Liam in his mind countless times, each recollection bringing a smile to his face. When he finally reached room 204, he paused for a moment, taking a deep breath to steady himself. Knocking lightly on the door, he entered to find Liam sitting up in bed, sketchbook in hand, pencil flying across the page. The sight of him, focused and immersed in his art, made Ethan's heart skip a beat. "Hey there, Picasso," Ethan said playfully, stepping inside. Liam looked up, his face breaking into a bright smile. "Ethan, perfect timing. Want to see what I've been working on?" Ethan nodded eagerly as he approached the bed. Liam turned the sketchbook around to reveal a beautifully detailed drawing of the view from his hospital window, a scene of the city skyline framed by the delicate outline of tree branches. "Wow, that's incredible," Ethan exclaimed, genuinely impressed. "You've captured it perfectly." Liam's cheeks flushed with pride. "Thanks. It helps me escape this place for a bit. I can almost feel like I'm outside." Ethan leaned closer to admire the drawing, feeling a warmth spread through him as he watched Liam's passion come alive on the page. "You have a real talent," he said sincerely. "Art is my escape," Liam replied, his voice softening. "But it's hard to find the courage to pursue it full-time. What if no one wants to see my work?" Ethan felt a pang of empathy for him. "You'll never know unless you try. You have something special to share with the world." Liam looked at him thoughtfully, and for a moment, the room was filled with an electric silence, a shared understanding of their dreams and fears. "Enough about me," Liam said suddenly, breaking the tension. "What about you? What do you want?" Ethan hesitated for a moment, surprised by the question. He had spent so much time focusing on Liam that he hadn't reflected on his own aspirations lately. "I want to be a nurse," he finally admitted, his voice steady. "I love helping people, and I want to make a difference in their lives." Liam's eyes lit up with admiration. "That's amazing. You'd be great at it." "Thanks," Ethan replied, feeling a warmth spread through him at Liam's encouragement. "But sometimes I wonder if I'm good enough." "Of course you are," Liam insisted firmly. "You care about people, that's what matters most." Their conversation flowed effortlessly as they shared their hopes and dreams, laughing and teasing each other like old friends. Each moment felt precious, and Ethan couldn't help but feel that their connection was growing deeper with every passing second. As their laughter echoed through the room, Ethan noticed how comfortable they had become with each other. It was as if they were cocooned in their own little world, one where nothing else mattered except for this shared moment. Eventually, though, reality crept back in as Ethan glanced at the clock on the wall. He knew he had duties to attend to but felt reluctant to leave. "I should probably get back to work," he said reluctantly. "Will you come back later?" Liam asked, his expression hopeful. "Absolutely," Ethan promised with a smile. As he stepped out of room 204, Ethan felt lighter than air. The connection he had forged with Liam was unlike anything he had ever experienced before, a spark that ignited something deep within him. Little did he know that this bond would lead them both on an unexpected journey filled with challenges and discoveries that would change their lives forever. The following days melted into a comfortable routine for Ethan Blake. Each shift at St. Francis Hospital brought him back to room 204, where Liam Carter awaited him with his infectious smile and endless stories. Their connection deepened with every encounter, and Ethan found himself looking forward to these moments more than anything else in his life. One afternoon, as Ethan entered the room, he was greeted by the sight of Liam sketching again. This time, he was working on a portrait of a nurse who had just left the room, her laughter still echoing in the air. The lines on the page captured not just the nurse's features but also her spirit, and Ethan couldn't help but admire Liam's talent. "Wow, that's amazing," Ethan exclaimed, leaning over to get a better look. "You have a real gift." Liam looked up, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Thanks. It's just something I do to pass the time. I never thought I'd enjoy it this much." Ethan took a seat beside him on the bed, feeling a sense of ease wash over him. "You should consider taking an art class when you get out of here. You could really develop your skills." Liam paused for a moment, his expression shifting from excitement to uncertainty. "I don't know, what if I'm not good enough? What if no one wants to see my work?" Ethan felt a surge of determination. "You won't know until you try. Besides, art is about expression, not perfection. You have something unique to share." Liam smiled softly at Ethan's encouragement, and for a moment, their gazes locked in an unspoken understanding. It was as if they were both searching for courage in each other's eyes. "Okay," Liam said finally, his voice steadying with newfound resolve. "I'll think about it." Their conversation shifted as they began to share more about their lives outside the hospital walls. Ethan spoke about his childhood in a small town in California and how he had always dreamed of helping others. Liam shared stories of growing up in San Francisco, his love for the city's vibrant art scene and how it had shaped his identity. "I've always felt like an outsider," Liam confessed one evening as they sat together, the sun setting outside the window and casting warm hues across the room. "But when I create art, I feel like I belong somewhere." Ethan nodded in understanding. "I get that. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions at work, but when I'm helping someone, it feels like I'm exactly where I need to be." As they talked, Ethan realized how much he admired Liam's resilience and creativity. There was something profoundly beautiful about how Liam used art to navigate his struggles, a quality that drew Ethan even closer to him. Days turned into weeks, and their bond blossomed into a friendship filled with laughter and shared dreams. They began to confide in each other more deeply, sharing fears about the future and hopes for their aspirations. One afternoon, while they were discussing their favorite movies, Ethan noticed how Liam's face lit up when he talked about a particular film that had inspired him to pursue art. "It made me realize that life is too short not to follow your passion," Liam said passionately. Ethan felt a warmth spread through him at Liam's words. "You're right," he replied softly. "We only get one shot at this life, we should make it count." In that moment, Ethan felt a shift within himself, a realization that he wanted more than just friendship with Liam. The connection they shared was electric and undeniable, sparking feelings he had never fully acknowledged before. As their conversations continued late into the evening, laughter filled the room like music, a melody of companionship that wrapped around them both. But as much as Ethan cherished these moments with Liam, he couldn't shake off the nagging fear of what lay ahead, the complications that came with developing feelings for someone who was technically still his patient. Yet every time he looked into Liam's eyes, those worries faded away like shadows in the light of day. "I'm really glad you're here," Liam said one evening as they finished their discussions for the day. "Me too," Ethan replied earnestly. And for the first time in a long while, Ethan felt hopeful about what tomorrow might bring, about what could unfold between them if they dared to take that leap together. The following week brought a shift in the atmosphere of room 204. Ethan Blake entered with a sense of anticipation, his heart racing as he thought about Liam Carter. The connection they had forged felt like a delicate thread woven between them, and Ethan was increasingly aware of how much he wanted to explore it further. As he stepped inside, he found Liam sitting up in bed, his sketchbook open on his lap. The sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow around him. He looked up and smiled, and in that moment, Ethan felt all his worries melt away. "Hey there, Ward boy. Ready for another art critique?" Liam teased, his eyes sparkling. Ethan chuckled, taking a seat beside him. "Absolutely. But only if you promise to show me your latest masterpiece." Liam flipped the sketchbook around to reveal a stunning drawing of a cityscape at dusk. The buildings were outlined against a vibrant sky filled with hues of orange and purple, capturing the essence of San Francisco beautifully. "Wow, Liam, this is incredible," Ethan said, genuinely impressed. "You have such an eye for detail." Liam beamed at the compliment, but Ethan noticed a flicker of doubt cross his face. "Thanks. I just wish I could do more than sketches. I want to paint like the artists I admire." "Then why not start now?" Ethan encouraged. "You have the talent, you just need to take that first step." Liam looked thoughtful for a moment before shaking his head slightly. "It's easier said than done. What if I fail?" Ethan leaned closer, feeling the weight of Liam's insecurities. "But what if you succeed? You'll never know unless you try." Their eyes locked for a moment, and Ethan felt an electric charge in the air between them. It was as if time stood still, and all that mattered was this connection they shared. "Okay," Liam finally said, breaking the tension with a soft smile. "I'll think about it." As their conversation continued to flow effortlessly, Ethan felt a growing desire to express what lay beneath the surface of their friendship. Each laugh they shared seemed to draw them closer together, and every moment spent in Liam's presence made Ethan's heart race. Later that evening, as they settled into a comfortable silence after discussing their favorite books, Ethan took a deep breath and decided it was time to be honest about his feelings. "Liam," he began hesitantly, "there's something I need to tell you." Liam looked at him with curiosity and concern etched on his face. "What is it?" Ethan's heart raced as he searched for the right words. "I've really enjoyed our time together, more than I ever expected. You make me feel alive." Liam's expression shifted from curiosity to surprise as he processed Ethan's words. "I feel the same way," he admitted quietly. Ethan's heart soared at Liam's confession, but fear crept in again, fear of what this meant for them both. "But we're in different places right now," he said cautiously. "You're my patient." "I know," Liam replied softly, his gaze steady and sincere. "But that doesn't change how I feel about you." In that moment, everything felt clearer to Ethan. The connection they shared was undeniable, and he no longer wanted to hide from it. "Then let's not hide," Ethan said boldly, his voice firm yet gentle. "Let's see where this takes us." Liam smiled, a radiant smile that lit up the room, and nodded in agreement. As they moved closer together on the bed, Ethan felt an overwhelming rush of emotions, excitement mixed with apprehension, but above all else, there was hope. Their lips met softly at first, a tentative exploration that quickly deepened into something more passionate and consuming. It was as if all their fears melted away in that kiss, nothing else mattered except for this moment they had created together. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless and wide-eyed, Ethan couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. "I can't believe we just did that," he whispered, still feeling the warmth of Liam's lips against his own. "Me neither," Liam replied with a laugh that echoed through the room like music. "But I'm glad we did." They spent the rest of the evening talking about their dreams and aspirations, sharing hopes for the future while basking in the warmth of each other's presence. It felt like stepping into uncharted territory, a place filled with endless possibilities. As night fell outside the hospital window and stars began to twinkle in the sky above San Francisco, Ethan knew that this was just the beginning of something beautiful, a journey filled with love and discovery. The days that followed their first kiss felt like a whirlwind of emotions for Ethan Blake. Each moment spent with Liam Carter was filled with laughter and shared dreams, but beneath the surface, a sense of uncertainty lingered. They had crossed a line that blurred the boundaries of their relationship, and Ethan couldn't shake the nagging worry about the implications. As he entered room 204 one afternoon, he found Liam sitting up in bed, sketching again. The sunlight streamed in through the window, casting a warm glow around him, but today there was a shadow of concern in Liam's eyes. Ethan's heart sank as he approached. "Hey, you," Ethan said softly, trying to gauge Liam's mood. "What are you working on?" Liam looked up, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Just some doodles. Nothing special." Ethan sat down beside him, feeling the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. "You seem a little off today. Is everything okay?" Liam hesitated, his pencil hovering over the page. "I've been thinking about us." Ethan's heart raced at the mention of their relationship. "What about us?" "I love spending time with you," Liam began, his voice steady but laced with apprehension. "But we have to be careful. I'm still your patient, and there are rules." Ethan nodded, understanding the gravity of what Liam was saying. "I know. I've been worried about that too." He took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. "But I don't want to hide how I feel about you." Liam met his gaze, and for a moment, they were both lost in each other's eyes, two souls navigating uncharted waters together. "Neither do I," Liam admitted quietly. "But what if someone finds out?" Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "What if it costs us our jobs?" Liam sighed deeply, running a hand through his hair in frustration. "I don't want to think about that right now. I just want to enjoy what we have." Ethan felt torn between wanting to protect their budding relationship and the reality of their situation. "I do too," he said finally. "But we need to be smart about this." They spent the next few hours discussing their fears and hopes for the future, sharing stories and laughter while trying to navigate the complicated emotions swirling around them. Yet as much as they tried to focus on the positive, the weight of their circumstances loomed large. Later that evening, as Ethan prepared to leave for the day, he paused at the door and turned back to Liam. "Promise me we'll figure this out together." Liam smiled softly, his eyes filled with warmth and understanding. "I promise." As Ethan walked down the hallway, he felt a mix of hope and anxiety churning within him. He wanted nothing more than to embrace this new chapter with Liam, but knew they had to tread carefully. The following days were filled with stolen moments, quick glances across the room when no one was watching and whispered conversations when they thought no one could hear. Each interaction felt like a dance on a tightrope, balancing between joy and fear. One afternoon, while Ethan was on break in the staff lounge, Drive, Adrian Wells entered with an air of seriousness that immediately caught Ethan's attention. "Ethan, Drive," Wells began, his tone grave. "Can we talk?" Ethan's heart sank as he followed Drive, Wells into a quieter corner of the lounge. "Is everything okay? I've noticed you spending a lot of time with Mr. Carter." "Drive," Wells said carefully. "I just want to remind you of hospital policies regarding staff-patient relationships." Ethan felt his stomach drop at the implication behind those words. "I understand," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "Just be cautious, Drive," Wells continued, concern etched on his face. "It can complicate things for both of you." "I will," Ethan promised, feeling a wave of frustration wash over him as he realized how precarious their situation truly was. That evening, as he returned to room 204 after his shift ended, Ethan found Liam waiting for him with an anxious expression. "What did drive Wells say?" Liam asked immediately. Ethan sighed heavily and ran a hand through his hair. "He reminded me about hospital policies, it's complicated." Liam's face fell slightly at those words, but he quickly masked it with determination. "We can handle this together," he insisted. Ethan nodded but felt an ache in his chest at how difficult it would be to navigate their feelings amidst such challenges. As they talked late into the night about their dreams and fears, about art and nursing, the warmth between them remained undeniable despite the obstacles ahead. In that moment of vulnerability and connection, Ethan realized that love was worth fighting for, even if it meant facing uncertainty together. The days turned into a blur of emotions for Ethan Blake as he navigated the complexities of his relationship with Liam Carter. Each moment spent together was filled with laughter and connection, but the shadow of their circumstances loomed larger with every passing day. Ethan felt a growing sense of urgency to address the unspoken tension between them. One afternoon, as Ethan entered room 204, he found Liam sitting quietly on his bed, staring out the window. The sunlight illuminated his features, casting a soft glow around him, but there was a distant look in his eyes that made Ethan's heart ache. "Hey," Ethan said gently, moving closer. "What's on your mind?" Liam turned to him, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Just thinking about everything." Ethan sat down beside him, feeling the weight of their situation pressing down on both of them. "I know it's been tough," he said softly. "But we can figure this out together." Liam sighed, running a hand through his hair in frustration. "I want to believe that, but it feels like we're walking on eggshells all the time. What if someone finds out?" Ethan's heart raced at the thought. "I've been worried about that too," he admitted. "But I don't want to stop seeing you. You mean too much to me." Liam looked at him, searching for sincerity in Ethan's eyes. "You really feel that way?" "Absolutely," Ethan replied without hesitation. "You've changed my life in ways I never expected." Liam's expression softened, and for a moment, the tension between them dissipated. "I feel the same way," he confessed. "But I don't want to put either of us in jeopardy." Ethan took a deep breath, trying to steady his racing heart. "What if we set some boundaries? We can still spend time together without drawing attention to ourselves." Liam nodded slowly, considering the idea. "That could work, as long as we're careful." They spent the next hour discussing how they could maintain their connection while being mindful of their surroundings. It felt good to have an open conversation about their fears and desires, like lifting a weight off their shoulders. As they talked, Ethan couldn't help but notice how Liam's eyes sparkled with determination. There was something incredibly beautiful about his passion for life, and it ignited a fire within Ethan that he hadn't felt in a long time. Later that evening, after their conversation had settled into comfortable silence, Ethan decided to take a leap of faith. He reached out and took Liam's hand in his own, a simple gesture that spoke volumes. "I want you to know that I'm here for you," Ethan said softly, squeezing Liam's hand gently. "No matter what happens." Liam looked down at their intertwined fingers and smiled, a genuine smile that warmed Ethan's heart. "Thank you for being so understanding." Their moment was interrupted by a knock on the door as Nurse Kelly entered with her usual bright demeanor. "Hey there. Just checking in on my favorite patient," she exclaimed. Ethan quickly released Liam's hand and shifted back slightly, trying to maintain a casual demeanor while feeling a rush of anxiety wash over him. "Everything good?" Nurse Kelly asked as she checked Liam's vitals. "Yeah, just hanging out," Liam replied smoothly, shooting Ethan a quick glance that made his heart flutter. After Nurse Kelly left the room, they both exhaled in unison, relieved but aware of how easily their secret could be discovered. "I hate having to hide," Liam said quietly. Ethan nodded in agreement. "Me too. But it won't always be like this." As the days passed and their relationship continued to grow, they found creative ways to spend time together without raising suspicions, quiet conversations during meal times or stolen moments when no one was around. Yet despite their efforts to keep things under wraps, Ethan couldn't shake off the feeling that they were living on borrowed time. The thrill of their secret was exhilarating but also terrifying. One evening after work, as Ethan walked into room 204 for what felt like another routine visit, he found Liam looking unusually pensive. "Hey," Ethan said softly. "What's going on?" Liam hesitated before speaking, his voice barely above a whisper. I've been thinking about what happens when I get discharged. Ethan's heart sank at the thought of losing this precious connection they had built within these hospital walls. What do you mean? I mean, what if we can't keep this going once I'm out? Liam looked up at him with vulnerability etched across his face. Ethan felt a surge of determination rise within him. We can make it work, he insisted firmly. I want you in my life, outside these walls. Liam searched Ethan's eyes for reassurance before nodding slowly. I want that too. As they sat together in silence, both lost in thought about what lay ahead, Ethan knew that whatever challenges awaited them outside the hospital doors would be worth facing if it meant being with Liam. In that moment of uncertainty and hope intertwined, they found solace in each other, two hearts beating as one amid the chaos surrounding them.